Hey everybody, happy Sunday and welcome back to another quick episode. So as you've seen before on some of my other videos, sometimes I'll see things on the side of the road and I just want to make a quick stop and kind of feature it, make a short, 9-10 minute video on it. And this is one of those places. It's right here in West Baton Rouge Parish, and of course a parish is a county for those of you outside of Louisiana. And I'm in Fort Allen on my way to Baton Rouge to do another vlog today. And I saw this house and this placard, and I just thought I'd stop and check it out for you guys. It'll be a quick one. Maybe I'll start doing like a quick stop series or something, like quick stop slash or dash insert place or thing or whatever. Maybe that, let me know if that's something you guys would want to see, like a series of just little short visits. But anyway, so I'm going to tell you about this place real quick. Hope you enjoy it. Let's jump right in and it'll be over before you know it. So let's go ahead and take a quick look. Let's go. So this place, this house is called Oaks Plantation, and I'll read this placard that's right here and tell you all about it real quick and take a quick glance at it and the beauty of it and the significance of it. And that's really going to be about it. Like I said, this will be a quick one for you guys. I'm going to start doing more of these quick stops along the road because I see them all the time. Things I'm like, man, I want to stop and take a look at that. And I bet my watchers, my subscribers would want to see that too. So I'm committing to do more of that on the channel. So here we go. And I'm going to show you here the placard. It says Oaks Plantation. And I'll show you around as I read it. I'm not going to make you guys just stare at this the whole time I'm reading it. But it actually starts on the other side. Let's see. And I'll show you around the property and try to pan around as I read. I'll try to do my best with that, but kind of let you guys get a broad view of it all. But at the time of the Louisiana Purchase, this tract of land belonged to Madame Patin. In 1838, her heirs sold the tract to Jesse Patrick. Patrick purchased the neighboring southern property from Aurora Alain. At the time of Patrick's ownership, the tract was described as measuring 23.5 arpents front on the river with a depth of 80 arpents on the first 14.5 arpents above and the depth of 40 arpents for the remainder of said land. Now I think arpents are close to acres, I believe. Bounded on the upper side by the lands of Sebastien Hiriart and the lower by those of Ursens, Soniet, and Hopkins. A lot of this that I'm saying and reading, I can't make sense of a lot of it, so I'm sure you guys won't either, so I do apologize. I'm just reading what the placard says, but at its greatest extent, the plantation's boundaries reached Court Street to the north, US Interstate 10 to the south, and Highway 415 to the west. In February 1868, the plantation was seized by the West Baton Rouge Sheriff for repayment of debts owed to Citizens Bank of Louisiana. Edward Gay, prominent Iberville Parish planter, purchased it at sheriff's sale the following March. Gay sold the property to his brother William in 1869. During the Gay's family ownership, the plantation grew corn, sugarcane, and rice. I was going to look on the other side. I'm going to keep showing you, panning around and reading here. It says levy maps in 1871 and 1914 depict the property with a residence set in a grove of oaks. I wonder if it's some of these oaks you're seeing here on the right that kind of go along the side of the house there. And this is the house, by the way. Well, I keep showing you that. Presumably the plantation's namesake due to the oaks. Also on the plantation was a river landing, sugar mill, quarters cabins, and vegetable gardens. The house site was lost to the river in 1914, but the residence was relocated west to its present site, where it is now. This one, the Oaks Inc. was incorporated in 1924 and began subdividing the plantation into smaller lots around the house. The site of the house was enhanced with formal gardens by noted West Baton Rouge landscape architects Theodore and Lou Bird Landry. The home is 3 rooms wide by 2 rooms deep, with additions to its rear in the back. A deep porch lines the front, and the whole house is covered with a hipped roof topped with a leer-shaped lightning rod. I see a lightning well, I guess you can't see it from here. I don't see a lightning rod here, maybe behind a tree there. Let's see, where did I leave off at? Detailing of the house is restrained classical revival. Hand hewn and machine sawn wood framing is found throughout. Timbers in the roof and floor framing contain old mortise and tenon joints. But nails dating from circa 1880 are used as the sole joining method for the structural members. This is indicative of a structure built with salvaged materials or an older structure that has been significantly altered. There's a lot of words and phrasing in there that I did not understand or make much sense of. I do apologize for that. So this is a pretty house. I don't know what the, I don't know how they are about people just walking around here, but I guess there's a placard out front, so I guess they're used to it. And check out the sundial here, right in the middle of the front yard in this cool display. It's kind of an overcast, cloudy, so it's about 2:30, 2:40 p.m. right now. So if the sun were out, it would probably show right about there, I'd say, which seems about right. If you look at where the sun's at right here, kind of behind me, to my left, it's about right. But it's right here in front of the house. And there's some pretty oak trees here. You can see that one across the street. It's a pretty old one. The more and more I do this channel, the more I focus on things like trees, especially oak trees that are just beautiful. And I'm starting to get pretty good at dating them. And the reason I feel like I'm pretty good at dating them is because I'll see, or I'll go visit places where they say exactly how old the trees are. And I get kind of educated that way. So when I see others, I can say like, oh, that one looks like it's about that old. But the house is really nice. I'm just going to kind of walk around. I mean, the worst case, they just tell me to get off their property. The first for everything on the channel, but usually these places with the big placards in front, they're kind of used to people walking around and such. I'm not going to get too close, but it's a beautiful house, kept in great condition. It says it's 3 rooms wide, as it looks like there, and 2 rooms deep, but they said they've added on to the rear. And again, I just drove past this place and saw it. I haven't done a lot of research on it or anything. So forgive me on that. I do try to do due diligence and give research. Hi. Hey, sorry about that, guys. I actually met the owner. He walked out just now, and I ended up talking to him for like 30 minutes just now, Mr. Callahan. And so, or Callaghan, excuse me, Callaghan. I mean, I mispronounced your name, Mr. Callaghan. I just met him, but I'm trying to memorize the names. But yeah, so he's telling me about the house and all that, and he said he's been here since the 90s. And has kept it up ever since. But he was telling me a little bit about the house and how for the most part it's been very well taken care of. And then he's changed a little bit of the floors out, some of the pine flooring. He said it was mixed wood flooring, so some of the pine and all that had to come up and he had to change it out. But he said it's been taken care of very well over the years. And kind of a lot of the history that I read on the placard earlier, a while ago, on the placard, excuse me, on the placard a while ago, is a lot of the same stuff he was telling me about, so it kind of matched up. And he was saying the house was actually about 200-300 yards that way over the levee. That's a levee right there, as you can kind of see. We're going to go over there because he said he owns that piece of property right there, so I'm going to walk you guys across there really quick after I show you this side of the house. But he said it's really, it's a nice, typical, he said it was an overseer's house. And I don't remember who it was that asked a question on my channel about, might have been Magnolia Mound. Somebody asked recently if there was a reason why the overseer's houses always had 2 entrances, like 2 doors. And you can see that here on the front. The 2 doors, well, try to get an angle here for you. But there's a door on the left there. You can see it like right there. There's a door, then there's the main entrance, and there's like another door right here. And he said something, and I asked him if he knew about that and why, and he mentioned that it probably had to do with the fact that doors, he couldn't remember if it was doors or windows that were taxed. The same things, kind of like with closets. Closets were taxed back then, so that's why people had like armoires and such, you know. And so so I guess since doors were taxed or windows were taxed, or one or the other, they made doors out of it. Just like in New Orleans, how the windows in New Orleans, like they're kind of floor to ceiling, so they kind of open up as doors, so to say. And so most likely doors were maybe taxed, and so maybe they at one time were like used as, or windows, they were kind of built as windows that opened up as doors, sort of, if that makes sense. But he was kind of unclear on it, and but from what he understands is it has something to do with that, which is interesting because, like I said, whoever it was, I hate to not give you credit on here for asking, but one of the subscribers on the channel asked about that just the other day, and I had no clue as to why they have kind of like a duplex setup in the front. But this is the side of the house here, and this is the part they've added on to with the garage and all that. Obviously not original, but you can see obviously this part is very original looking. You know, the house was built in the mid 1800s, probably around the 1840s or 50s, which matches, you know, the time period that we saw on the plaque. And he was telling me how between the previous owners and in himself, oh look, there's that lightning rod, I guess, on the top. You see it there? See if I can zoom in for you without being too jolty here. I guess that's the lightning rod I was talking about on the placard. But I love seeing houses like this that are just kept up and kept beautiful like that. And I'm actually kind of excited because I thought this was going to be a quick stop, and it ended up being not so quick of a stop. And the owner saw me kind of keeping my distance from the house, and he walked outside and waved to me, and he's like, "Oh, come on in." I quickly kind of explained myself. I was like, "Hey, you know, I'm Matt. I have a YouTube channel, and I like featuring places like this." And I just stumbled across it, and he was very welcoming. He's like, "Oh, come on, like come up on the porch, come sit. You know, I got to sit on a rocking swing, and here's one right here." And he was telling me all about it, and he's like, "Oh, you're more than welcome." He said, "People see the plaques, and you know they come and take a look, and there's people that walk in the house." And he said if I wasn't redoing some kitchen stuff right now, I'd have you come in and take a look at it, and you could do all that, but it's a mess. I was like, "Oh, you know, I had no intention of going in your house or anything." So that was really cool of him to do that. But he was saying how between the previous owners and him, when they took over in the 90s, I think he said the early to mid 90s, I think, it was still like it was owned by somebody else, and it wasn't lived in, but it was still kept up, it was still maintained. And kind of a little bit to add a little bit of folklore. I say not folklore, but because he said it's you know, no joke that the caretaker, his name was Matthew, and he was kind of hired by the previous owners to take care of the house. And Mr. Carey, who's the owner I was just talking to, he said that Matthew's spirit's still here. And kind of first I was like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, I saw his face, he's kind of serious about it, and he said, "No, it's true." I was like, "Oh, really?" You know, I don't really include stuff like that, ghosts and stuff on my channel, but he said that he's like, "No, it's, you know," he said, "I don't consider it a haunting because it's not like an evil spirit or anything, but that his spirit's definitely still here." And so I was asking him, I was like, "Well, what's it like? Like, what's it do?" He's like, "Oh, you can just tell he's here. You know, you feel it. You feel temperature differences and stuff like that." And he said he's had, like, I guess ghost hunters or whatever come in and ask if they can feel the house out or whatever. I'm obviously walking up the levee right now, and there's the Mississippi River Bridge, so that's looking south. But he said he owns all this property here, so he said I can walk up it. A pretty little courtyard we just walked through. And here's me out of breath, first of all, but there's downtown Baton Rouge, state capitol over there, and it's beautiful. Pretty cool, huh? But he said the house used to be probably right around here, and then when they built the levee in the 1920s here, they moved the house. Obviously we can't see it because of the tree, but the house is right over there on the other side of the street. And Check out this house. It's a pretty interesting house. Like a 3-story house right there. Definitely is a time, what do you call it? I'm out of breath. I'm walking up the levee. Whew. I need to come do some sprints up the levee, get my butt in shape. Definitely a period piece. That's what I was trying to say. That house right there. This blue in here. And the owner, actually, the guy I was talking to a while ago, Mr. Carey, he said that this house right here is still being worked on. So it's a work in progress. But they're all pretty, well, I'll say all of them. I don't know about those. But this one, he said, it's a pretty old one. Maybe that dates back to the approximate time that the Oaks Plantation house is from. But yeah, he was telling me, like, yeah, the spirit, he said the spirit people walked in and said, you know, there's definitely something going on between the kitchen and the, I think they said the dining area or something like that. And they said they pictured, or they got the feeling it was, and these people were from, I think he said from out of state or something like that. So they didn't know the history of the house. They didn't know anything. And then they said, we get that we get this, whatever, the feeling or the sense that it's an older black gentleman with blue jean coveralls on. And he smiled. He goes, that's Matthew, 100%. And so, and I asked us, like, is that what he looked like? Is that what he was? He said, yep. So, see, look at this. This is cool. I like this. It's kind of like it's like a house you've seen on some movies. You know? It's almost like this grotto looking thing here. I do not want to intrude on these people's property, so I'm not going to walk up there, but it's a pretty interesting stuff. This vlog is turning out to be a little bit more, a little thicker than I first imagined. You gotta love that, huh? Just stumbled across, I just literally stumbled upon this. Decided to take a quick stop. I was gonna read the placard and go look broadly at the house. Ended up getting up close and personal to the house and learning a whole bunch about it. But so yeah, and he was saying these oak trees are, like I suspected, a lot of these oak trees like that one and these that line the property are all from that time period. There's some over here. I'll take one more glance and I'll close this video out for you guys. But he said this back lot property behind these houses here, like right over here, these oak trees over there, he said those are really old too. And as soon as he pointed them out and I glanced over there, I was like, oh, you're not joking. Those are all really nice and really dated. See if I could zoom into those a little bit. And those are on people's property, so I'm not gonna go walk back there, but you can see how pretty they are and how mysterious they look and all that. I love that stuff. So anyway, signing off from this impromptu, totally impromptu stop along the road at Oaks Plantation House. It has quite a little extensive history that dates back to the property dates back to the Louisiana Purchase time frame, which is the early 1800s. But this house was built in the mid 1800s and beautifully kept. He was telling me about the attic, and you can see how pitched the roof is, how steep the pitch is on that roof. And he said the attic is huge. He said there's actually an attic access door on the front porch that you can get up into, and then there's an actual door. So it's like a wall in the attic where you walk through a door to get to, I guess, the part of the attic that's over the house. I thought that was pretty fascinating. And beautiful property, beautiful yard, wonderful people that run the house. And if you guys are watching this, they said they were going to check the channel out to the Calligans if they're watching. If you end up watching, guys, feel free to keep in touch with me through the channel, and I do appreciate your welcoming and your hospitality. And Mr. Carey also told me that these two stones here, we've seen these at other vlogs. They're grinding stones. They're two different grinding stones. We've seen those on oh look, the sundial's out so you can see. Sorry, I'm getting my camera adjusted here. Yeah, so it's right at, remember I said, just to, you know, of course this is about 30 minutes later, but it was about 2:30 earlier, so now it's almost 3. So it's, sorry, I'm trying to do this and look at the camera at the same time. But see, it's almost 3 o'clock. How cool is that? But if you look at the the LSU Ag Center, Burden. I think it's the Burden Museum or whatever. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they had a lot of grinding stones out there. And I think there's also some at a couple of the other vlogs I've done. Some of those places had a lot of grinding stones and sugar kettles and all that stuff. So anyway, I'm rambling on and all that stuff, but this turned out to be a pretty cool little stop. And I'm actually on my way to go do a couple other quick vlogs in Baton Rouge. So I'm gonna go ahead and head out, and I'll give you one more glance of this beautiful property called Oaks Plantation here in Port Allen, Louisiana, which is in West Baton Rouge Parish. And obviously you saw the levee, so if we would have crossed the river right there, we would have been in East Baton Rouge Parish or downtown Baton Rouge, where obviously you saw the Capitol and all that. So with that, I'll sign off, and you guys take care. Have a wonderful Sunday. And I love you all. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, and feel free to support the channel through my Patreon page, patreon.com/travelwithoutacause. And it truly does support the channel. It helps me out in every way. It's not expensive. You can donate a few dollars a month to it, and it really does truly help with every little detail of my endeavors. It helps with gas money to travel and all that stuff. And I would never ask anybody for money to do this because it's a hobby of mine and I love doing it, and I will do it no matter what. However, people do ask how they can support the channel, and that's how you can do it. And you could also, more importantly, you can just support the channel by watching the videos and saying nice things as comments. I love that stuff. And that's what keeps me going. So yeah, see you guys soon. Until next time, goodbye, folks.